Today we're going to be taking a look at the latest LEGO NASA collaboration, and that is the Shuttle carrier aircraft. Now, prior to this thing just arriving on my doorstep, I was kind of aware of the existence of this aircraft. However, building this set really gave me an opportunity to dive a bit deeper into the history of this thing. And as you'd expect, the instructions do give you a look behind the scenes at what this vehicle was doing back in the 1970s. Compared to some of the more recent LEGO NASA offerings, I would definitely describe this as more of a niche model. And I am left to wonder a bit about how appealing this will be to the general public, but there is no denying it's incredibly awesome. This kind of combines the best of two worlds here. Of course, you've got NASA and the space program, but you've also got a big, beautiful plane. I have no doubt that there's going to be a ton of rebrickable alternate builds to make this into a more standard 747. The 747 with the space shuttle carried on its back does have a few pretty noticeable modifications. Of course, you'll note the connection points that hold the shuttle in place, but there's also the additional 2 vertical stabilizers you'll find at the tail of the aircraft. The decals that you're seeing throughout the model are, as always, a combination of both stickers and prints. The shuttle is covered primarily in clearback stickers, but most of the details on the 747 are indeed printed elements, especially these repeating window pieces that you see all down the fuselage. You can, of course, detach the shuttle from the top. We'll take a look at that all here by itself. In the back of the shuttle, you'll find the engine parts that you can swap out for the aerodynamic cone that was a part of the real ship when it was placed on the back of the 747. This requires some assembly to reattach all the engines, but I'm glad that you have this option at all. Also stored in the back of the shuttle is some landing gear that you simply just tack onto the underside. It's nothing too fancy, very similar to what we actually saw with the Pharrell Williams to the moon set. The shuttle is ultimately held in place by 3 separate ball joints, 2 at the tail of the aircraft and then 1 near the nose. It's all laid out on the 747 rather perfectly to get that angle that you'd expect to see on the real thing too. Looking at the 747 all by itself, this is a pretty majestic aircraft. As I imagine a lot of people will want to do, it's not too difficult probably to just leave these out of the construction while you're building. They're probably a lot tougher to go back in and get now, but I just replace these elements here, these ball joint trailer hitch pieces, with 1x2 plates or something like that, and you'd probably be able to smooth this out pretty easily. Though honestly, I think omitting the shuttle makes for a far less interesting display piece, that's for sure. Like the Concorde, there is indeed retractable landing gear, and LEGO has developed a new wheel element to help facilitate that. It's a pretty complex mechanism, but very satisfying to watch this unfold, and it's very impressive how they managed to store all of that mechanism in a relatively narrow fuselage here. My favorite part of this when it came to the building experience is the subtle upward tilt that you're going to see in all of the wings, both on the tail and on the main body of the aircraft. Some truly interesting building techniques go into accomplishing this shaping, but the final result is really elegant and surprisingly sturdy. As you build it, it did not feel like it was going to come out that way, but it really is. In fact, you can pretty much hold this thing anywhere on the fuselage and swoosh it around with great ease, which is exactly what you'd want from a model like this. Impeccable swooshability. And that's where this thing truly does shine. It's very, very well built. Naturally, you do get a stand for the set as well, with plaques for both the shuttle and separately for Boeing's 747 too, with just some, I assume they're accurate, facts this time around. The shuttle carrier aircraft just kind of balances in place here with the landing gear hugging the sides of this piece here. This is a bit fragile, connected only by 2 studs. I would have liked to have seen that a bit more secure, especially as you're trying to find the hole to line it up perfectly. It's very easy to knock that off. But once it's in place, surprisingly, it really doesn't go anywhere. This ends up being a pretty unexpected entry into LEGO's real-life sort of space icon sub-theme. Though I never ended up building the Concorde myself, I have to imagine that this is quite a different building experience from that. After all, the 2 aircraft served very different functions during their lifetimes, and they are certainly distinct looking from one another. It's hard to say which would have been more appealing, a standard 747 or the actual shuttle carrier aircraft that you see here. It's undeniable that there's something incredibly charming about the whole ridiculous nature of this combination. And to actually think that this is a real thing that not that long ago was flying above the country, delivering these shuttles to wherever they needed to go, is kind of mind-boggling. I wish we could go back to these simpler times when the biggest problem that plagued our government was how to get shuttle from point A to point B. So, you plane fanatics, space fanatics, what do you think of this? Is this a perfect marriage of two icons of our modern age, or would these have made better sets separately? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have yourself a fantastic life, and I'll see you again here soon.